Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
NAIT acquires more land, which will lead to further expansions.
I would like to welcome you here today to NAIT for, well, a historic announcement.
Experts across Alberta talk about the future for the oil and gas industry.
Since day one of our government, certainly, to get more pipelines built.
Cold temperatures leading to the increased numbers in homeless shelters.
And so we're seeing, our numbers double.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. It has been talked about for over 30 years, and now NAIT has finally acquired a part of the Blatchford land next door for development.
The land will be used for a variety of buildings to meet the needs of students and industry partners for decades to come. Our Daniel Bairdell has more.
NAIT's president and Mayor Don Iveson officially announced that NAIT has acquired 33 acres of Blatchford Airfield and the Westwood Transit Garage to the north of campus for a total of about 53 acres.
From a practical perspective, we will almost double the size of our main campus. But this simple fact greatly understates the importance of this acquisition. This land will provide NAIT with the opportunity to consolidate almost all of our operations onto this campus.
The expansion will be transformational for NAIT, its students, and our city. It's a vision that will see students and other city residents coexist in a vibrant and progressive community well into the future.
NAIT will be able to bring their expertise in academics and in alternative energy to enhance student and resident experiences in the Blatchford neighborhood. And this livable and walkable and sustainable community will firmly anchor the north end of this city's innovation corridor.
NAIT has changed drastically over the past 54 years. In 1965, NAIT was just between 118th Avenue and Princess Elizabeth Avenue. In 1982, it is shown that NAIT grew much larger. As of now, we are branched across 109th Street all the way over to 102nd Street.
Because we recognize that people deserve access to top quality education and learning spaces close to home. A bigger and better campus here at NAIT is going to make that a reality for even more people.
It will also allow NAIT to close its satellite campuses. NAIT officials aren't revealing the cost of this massive undertaking, but have said that the information will be released when all deals are finished. Hangar 11 will still be a part of the new expansion once it is complete. New buildings will include a skills center and student residencies. In the end, the goal is to consolidate all of NAIT's programs under the main campus, except for those that require large open spaces, like the crane and hoisting programs at the Spruce Grove campus. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Daniel Bairdell.
We want to know what you think about the NAIT expansion.
In partnership with our sister campus publication, The NAIT Nugget, we will be polling our viewers and readers on our question of the week. This week's poll question is, what should be brought first to NAIT's new land? Just go to NAIT NewsWatch or the NAIT Nugget Facebook pages and check off the answer you agree with the most. And don't forget to like the page to be in the running for 2 tickets to the Oilers game on March 13th versus the New Jersey Devils.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
Edmonton and most of Alberta is currently in the midst of one of the coldest stretches in recent memory.
The cold has already caused 1 death in our city, and with temperatures showing no signs of improving, it's only getting harder on Edmontonians. Our reporter Jordan Clark is from the South Lobby with more on that story.
Thanks, Brayden. Thanks, Margie. Well, it may seem hard for us to deal with the temperatures the way they are for a few minutes at a time, such as shoveling off our walkways or starting our cars. We have to remember that there are those out there that have no choice but to live outside in these near Arctic temperatures. It was Sunday when the body of an unidentified male was found in a green space just west of Commonwealth Stadium. The death was the first weather-related one in the city of Edmonton this year.
It's very sad and disheartening and really unfortunate, but not something that's unusual when we're in Edmonton and we're dealing with temperatures this severe.
Temperatures earlier this week dropped to as low as -42 without the wind chill. Shelters such as Boyle Street Community Center are always open to those less fortunate. Space is often scarce when temperatures dip to as cold as they've been.
So I think on average, year-round, we're seeing between 300 and 400 unique individuals a day. That gets closer to 7 or 8 during the winter months, and it's particularly in extreme cold times.
Due to the extreme cold, Boyle Street has since expanded their hours of operation to help those less fortunate.
During the winter months, because of the extreme cold, we're funded by Homeward Trust to stay open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Boyle Street expands their hours because other shelters usually open their doors around 8 p.m. and stay open until 8 a.m. By expanding their hours, they are helping those during the daytime cold. Currently, Boyle Street has a full winter closet. However, that does not mean they still don't need donations.
The only thing I think we're low on is like gloves, really. But everything else, we have it.
Temperatures are expected to rise by the middle of next week. However, Boyle Street does not expect the number of drop-ins to decrease.
Generally through the winter, once people start coming here after, -15, which we don't foresee it getting any warmer than that, generally they're going to be here for the rest of the summer, traveling between us during the day and shelters in the evening.
Homeward Trust said on Tuesday that they will be opening up Central LRT Station for 24 hours until next Tuesday. While it still isn't a great place to stay overnight, it is at least a place for people to warm up.
Jordan, when do Homeward Trust and the city consider opening up the LRT stations for the homeless?
Not until shelters reach about 90% capacity. Now, while shelters right now aren't really near the capacity, they opened up the LRT station just as a precaution due to the extreme cold.
Has there been any others affected by the cold weather this week?
Well, actually, yes. I spoke to Alberta Health Services earlier this week, and they said they have received so far 46 calls and drop-ins in relation to illness and injuries due to the cold. Not really surprising considering that this week we saw the coldest temperature in Edmonton in 9 years.
Well, thanks, Jordan. That's Jordan Clark reporting live from the South Lobby. With the weather being less than favorable this week, EPS wants to remind you of the dangers of leaving your vehicle running.
So this one's unlocked.
Operation Cold Start was launched this week after 50 vehicles have been stolen, a third of them because people left their keys in a running car. If your vehicle is left with its keys in, a criminal needs only seconds to steal it. Police have mentioned other ways you can keep warm without being in it.
If you don't have a key fob that you can start the vehicle with the fob and then leave, I would say have a key that you can at least lock the vehicle if you're going to leave it idling with the key in the ignition to make sure that you can lock the vehicle, because it obviously would take longer for a thief to get into your vehicle as opposed to just going through an unlocked door.
EPS wants to remind the public to be more aware of these risks so it doesn't happen to you.
NAIT held the national conversation on Tuesday, a forum allowing Edmontonians a chance to voice their concerns.
Say hello to your premier, everybody.
The panel was set up at the PIC building. Experts in the oil and gas industry were invited to the event to answer questions from the audience and video ones submitted for people who couldn't make the event. Premier Rachel Notley also spoke at the event. Chris Slubicki was one of the people invited to speak at the panel and shares that he is tired of battling against the rest of Canada.
Well, I think we've been fighting for 20 years on energy development, and it's been just that, a fight. It's been a bun fight, throwing rotten tomatoes, and we've accomplished nothing. It's time to have an intelligent, informed conversation, and let's move this subject forward.
The event aimed to have people understand the current state of our province.
New research is giving young workers a reason to come to Edmonton.
I can just knock on wood.
A recently published study by Youthful Cities named Edmonton as the best place for youth to find work in. The organization based the rankings under 4 themes: affordability, education, employment, and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I think Edmonton did reasonably well everywhere. It's because there's a high minimum wage in Edmonton. They did very well in some of the affordability categories. It had one of the top most affordable kind of education across the country.
Bernard did clarify that the high minimum wage is not a key factor, with Calgary placing 13th. Edmonton scored high in affordable education and entrepreneurship programs. Montreal and Ottawa came in second and third.
A painting of Jim Prentice was revealed Monday at the legislature as a sign of respect to him and his family.
His name is Mitchell James Prentice Gillespie.
Prentice passed away in 2016 due to a plane crash. Current Premier Rachel Notley and other MLAs took a moment to say a few words before the painting was revealed. Prentice's family hopes that the painting will inspire a next generation of leaders.
February marks the start of Black History Month, and the legislature wants to make sure the African Canadian community has their voices heard.
So that we can be your story, tasting of my glory.
This is Alberta's third year in honoring Black History Month. With Edmonton being a melting pot of diversity, the legislature took time to acknowledge Alberta's negative past in hopes of building a future with no racism. Yusra Ali was one of the people selected to speak at the legislature and share what she thought a better Edmonton would look like.
Just because I wear the hijab doesn't mean I'm gonna go do something crazy, no. It's just I'm different from everyone and we should break through that. And I understand it's hard at first. If I look at someone and they look some type of way, I'm gonna obviously, it's part of human nature for me to think that way.
The event had music, speakers, and a poet talking about what a community we can do to push towards a brighter future.
Edmonton celebrates World Cancer Day by assuring patients that their needs are a priority.
To make sure people get the timely treatment that they need. And
as part of Alberta's Cancer Foundation's I Am and I Will campaign for World Cancer Day, Minister of Health Sarah Hoffman and Minister of Seniors and Housing Laurie Sigurdsson displayed a pledge of action to fight for cancer patients in Alberta.
Well, we were just really excited to come here, and this is something new that Alberta Cancer Foundation hasn't done in the past years. Anyone can come by here at Kingsway and grab a little one of these decals and fill it out about what they're going to do together to help people on this journey.
Hoffman and Sigurdsson hope that the event will raise awareness about the needs of cancer patients. Get involved by visiting albertacancer.ca.
Coming up after the break, after a 15-year hiatus, NAIT returns to the slopes for the great annual Northern Concrete Toboggan Race.
We go to Sunridge Ski Area to take a look at how NAIT fared in the competition.
Really super fun. This is our first year. It's basically a big old party the whole entire 4 days.
Coming up in sports, as budget discussions ramp up for next year, some NAIT athletes fear that funding towards their programs could be at risk. And all eyes are on the NAIT men's volleyball team as they get set to host ACAC provincials right here in the NAIT gym. All that and more coming up in sports.
Well, we are definitely experiencing by far one of the coldest stretches in recent memory. I do have good news on the horizon for Edmonton, but in the meantime, make sure to stay warm and cozy and drive safe on those roads. I'll have more on your weekend forecast coming up after the break.
So, the UK has just instituted the toughest ban on ivory trade Europe has ever seen. For this exciting button push.
It's 1:59. My ears are bleeding. Underwear required over 40 stitches to her face. Good afternoon, it's 2 o'clock. I'm Jenna Winterburn with your NR92 News Update. You're listening to NR92.
Well, it's been a crazy, crazy cold day, so my face has frozen so many times.
Yeah, I know it's been an incredibly cold week. I know it took my vehicle a few tries to start every morning. So hopefully our Noah Ortiz can give us some good news.
Thanks, Braden. Thanks, Margie. Well, unfortunately, I have to be the bearer of bad news, at least for this weekend. So let's get started with Calgary. We got a high of -21 and a low of -27 with a 30% chance of precipitation. Flurries in the early morning, and it is going to be a little partly cloudy. So for those Calgarians out there who want to go out, I would suggest waiting until the afternoon so that you can brush off your cars with no snow interruptions. Going over to Jasper now, we got a high of -17 and a low of -28. 0% chance of precipitation. It's going to be partly cloudy. So for those skiers and snowboarders out there, it'll be the good time to hit the slopes. Going up north to Fort McMurray, we have a high of -26, low of -34. Fort McMurray is having it very bad, unfortunately. The good news is, however, it's going to be very sunny with a 0% chance of precipitation. Going over to Edmonton now, we have a high of -24, low of -32. Same as Fort McMurray, very sunny, 0% chance of precipitation. We're just a little bit warmer than them. And as far as averages go for this time of year, the average high is -4. So we're a little bit off the record, and same goes for -13. We're a little bit below the mark, I would say. So for records, it goes high of +10, which was set in 2016. So not so long ago that record was set. And in 1885, -41. I tell you, we were close to that, but luckily we avoided that. Actually, this past week, this past Tuesday, it was the coldest day in Edmonton in over 9 years. So we did not hit -41, luckily. The good news is that next Tuesday, we are going to hit -10 and -15. So we are going to get very warm as this week moves on. So that does it for your weekend forecast. Back to you guys.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
Colleges across Canada race downhill to find a superior toboggan.
Almost 500 engineering students competed in the Great Northern Concrete Toboggan Race. Each sled was tested for its form, speed, and control. For the first time in 15 years, NAIT entered the competition, and although it wasn't a successful first attempt, the team still enjoyed the event.
So we got 20 feet down the hill, which is pretty amazing for us. Well, our skis in the front caught on, so we're just doing a little bit of readjusting to see if we can get down the hill again for a second run. It's really super fun. This is our first year. It's basically a big old party the whole entire 4 days.
Despite the rough start, NAIT's toboggan team took home the Best New Team award and is looking forward to competing next year in Toronto.
Another busy week in Ooks athletics, and not around the actual sports themselves. Hey, Margie.
Yes, some controversy surrounding the future funding of athletics were brought up recently. Josh, what's the word?
Yeah, controversy to say the least, Braden and Margie. And we'll get sports this week kicked off with a story that's making waves across campus. With just a few weeks left in season play, focus has somewhat shifted away from regular competition for NAIT athletes as they push back against projected budget cuts to the athletic program. Ooks goalie Brendan Jensen is leading the way for a collective voice as next year's budget discussions ramp up. This after a focus group in December raised concern among athletes about future funding. Jensen has created an online petition already exceeding 700 signatures in support of NAIT athletics, stating the current funding is not ideal, but at the very least needs to stay as is. Jensen urges that player safety is just one of the reasons proper funding is crucial.
A fifth-year player on the team who's been wearing the same helmet when those certifications expire only after 1 year. Like me, myself, I'm a goaltender and I get hit in the head a lot and my helmet's 4 years old.
A hard copy petition has already been signed by over 180 NAIT athletes. NAIT is yet to comment on the situation as budget discussions are ongoing for next year. It was a tale of two goalies on Saturday night at the NAIT Arena as the Ooks faced off against the Concordia Thunder for the second time in as many nights. Fans couldn't help but get excited Saturday night as NAIT and Concordia took to the ice once again for the second time on the weekend. NAIT knocked off the Thunder 6-5 on Friday, and after an offensive blow-up of 11 combined goals, both teams electing to go with different goalies Saturday, which means cue Brendan Jensen and cue Garrett Storms. Picking things up in the first, after a risky pinch in the neutral zone by Ooks defender Connor Vermeulen, Concordia would walk it down Main Street and open the scoring as Adam Wheeldon buries his 4th of the season. Then, with less than 2 to go in the opening frame, Charlie Golicki would throw a prayer on net from the top of the circle, beating Jensen under the arm, giving the Thunder a 2-zip lead after 1. In the second now, Ooks looking to find the score sheet, and they would, as Connor Vermeulen creeps backdoor and pots his first goal as an Ook, cutting the Thunder lead to 1. Final frame now, Concordia leading 3-1, and the storms would intensify at the NAIT Arena. Cloudy, with a chance of saves is what they're calling it, as Garrett Storms blanks the Ooks on multiple grade 8 chances. The Ooks would get a late goal from Tanner Dunkel, but it wouldn't be nearly enough as the Thunder hang on for the 3-2 win. Garrett Storms was named player of the game after stopping 50 of 52 shots at the NAIT Arena, and it's safe to say Thunder players were pretty jacked up for the second-year netminder after the win.
We've come a long way so far this year. And I mean, hopping right off on the gas to start, I got into a rhythm real quick and then kind of just followed it through for the full 60. And you know, it never really wavered and just kind of stuck with it the entire way. And I got real lucky a couple times, but hey, I'll take it at the end of the day for sure.
The men's hockey team is back in action tonight when they take on the Portage Voyagers. While staying with Ooks sports, it may be cold outside, but the heat is on for the Ooks men's volleyball team as they prepare to host Volleyball provincials in their home gym.
Get out of here!
4 regular season games is what separates the men's volleyball team from beginning their run at an ACAC provincial championship. The Ooks now sit second in the Northern Division and will host the 7 other top teams in the province beginning February 21st. Although the Ooks already qualify for provincials, the team is still motivated to finish the regular season on top.
I think we definitely want to come in at the top spot and you know, show the ACAC that we're a team that can do this. You know, we have a history of losing in the quarters. We want this year to be a little bit different.
NAIT faces the Northern Division's last place team in Grand Prairie College this weekend. Alberta's top male curling talent made way to the Ellerslie Curling Club this week with the opportunity to represent their province on the line. Wednesday night's opening ceremony acted as starting grounds for the 5-day Alberta Men's Curling Cup Championship. For the 12 teams from across Alberta competing, the message is simple: win and you'll represent your province on the national stage at the Tim Hortons Brier. With so much on the line for all 12 teams, opening night at the event was already in high gear.
Never! Whoa, whoa! Mark, yep. Eric! Yes! Yeah!
The championship runs until Sunday night, where the final 2 teams will go head-to-head to win it all and represent Alberta at the Brier. And now let's take a more in-depth look at what's happening in the sports world. Weeks of speculation in the NBA can finally be put to rest as the trade deadline passed Thursday. The Toronto Raptors are one team that bolstered their roster, acquiring 3-time All-Star Marc Gasol from the Memphis Grizzlies in a deal that included Jonas Valanciunas. One player that didn't get swapped on deadline day was Pelican star Anthony Davis, who will become a UFA this summer after finishing the season in New Orleans. The Oilers snapped a 6-game losing streak in Minnesota on Thursday, beating the Wild 4-1. The Oil now sit 2 points out of a playoff spot. In the MLB, pitchers and catchers officially report next week, and the Toronto Blue Jays will look very different. The team traded longtime catcher Russell Martin and former All-Star Marco Estrada this offseason as part of a rebuild.
Wow, Storms really was on fire.
Yeah, for a backup goalie to put up 50 out of 52 saves in one night, I can't imagine how he must be feeling after that game.
Yeah, I think it actually kind of stunned the Ooks, right? You're facing a goalie that hasn't made a start since November. He's hot. He gets into a rhythm early, stops 50 of 52. Remarkable performance by him. And here's hoping the Ooks can find the score sheet more frequently tonight when they take on the Voyagers.
Well, thanks, Josh. Coming up after the break, we support families that have been affected by cancer.
We visit the Cross Cancer Institute to donate kilometers by biking.
Since Dad started in 2012, our team has raised just over, what, 50 grand, I think?
Yeah.
Right?
$55,000.
Yeah.
I'm here at the Citadel Theatre, where I'm going to be talking about the Wildfire Festival, along with Chinese New Year. Entertainment coming up on NAIT NewsWatch.
Listen up, sports fans.
Stay updated on your NAIT sports teams, from hockey to soccer to basketball and more.
Listen at 3:15 for your 60-second sports update on NR92, the station for the students.
For the 200-kilometer World Cancer Day Challenge, Alberta Cancer Foundation set up stationary bikes.
We had the opportunity to donate a few kilometers for a great cause.
Your time. Oh, that's okay. Really.
How many are you at?
3.3.
3?
People gather at the Cross Cancer Institute to show support for patients and celebrate the work the foundation has done. We had the pleasure of meeting the Lee family, who has been affected by cancer but still has a positive outlook in life.
Sister got cancer when I was 17 the first time, and then she thankfully beat it, but then it came back really badly, and she passed away about 8 months after that. 2012. And then my mom got cancer again in 2016, and then my dad got cancer in 2017. So we just bike as much as we can to raise awareness for cancer, raise money, and
the Lee family is dedicating all the donations they have raised in honor of their daughter. To register for a Ride to Conquer Cancer, go to ride.conquercancer.ca/Alberta.
You know, the crazy cold weather hasn't really let me get out that much.
Yeah, I'm basically a hermit at this point.
I'd love to ski or snowboard, but I'm not too eager to catch a frostbite.
Well, lucky for you and our viewers, our own Isaac Sandu is here to show us some fun stuff we can do in the cozy indoors.
The Wildfire Festival is in full swing, and teams of high school students are going to battle with some improvised ammunition.
Give me your first name. 1, 2, 3.
The festival started off with the Nose Bowl, a tournament where teams representing various Albertan high schools try to out-improv their competition. Teams get judged by their wittiness, acting skills, and crowd reaction. The festival allows students to experience being on stage and is an early opportunity for teens to grow as people.
I think especially at that age, improv teaches you things like confidence, and especially when, puberty is starting to come in and sort of change your perspective. It can give you an outlet for a lot of those feelings and a way to express creatively how you're feeling and express your creativity and discover that at that sort of perfect age to really get into art and really enjoy it.
The Nose Bowl finals are due to happen on February 10th, which wraps up the first third of the Wildfire Festival. Part 2 of the festival, the Canadian Improv Games, is due to start on February 12. For more info, visit www.rapidfiretheatre.com. It's a brand new Chinese New Year, and Edmontonians flocked over to West Ed to kick off Year the Pig. The celebration featured a wide variety of traditional and modern Chinese music and dance, as well as food and other activities. The celebration of Chinese New Year is a way for the Chinese community to showcase the history within their culture. And although Edmonton is celebrating Lunar New Year with a multitude of performances and activities, some people are using the holiday to get back in touch with their roots.
Now that I've grown up and a lot older, my family, we don't really see each other as much. Everyone has moved out, everyone's in different cities, but when Chinese New Year's comes around, it's kind of an excuse for everybody to, talk to each other again, send pictures like, hey, look, what are you doing for New Year's?
According to the Chinese calendar, this is the year 4017, while next year's celebration will honor the year they're at. The cold weather has everyone stuck inside, but if you want to get closer with Mother Nature, the RV Expo is in town for you. The Expo transformed into an indoor campground as over 500 RVs, from big to small, drivable to sizable, all went up for display as onlookers were able to take a seat inside their dreams. If you're interested in this event, the RV Expo ends on February 10th, with hours ranging from 10 to 5. Adult tickets are $15. For more information, head over to www.rvdaalberta.org. Well, that's everything I have from entertainment. Let's head back to Margie and Braden on the anchor's desk.
Thank you, Isaac. That has been your look at this week's NAIT NewsWatch.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend.